My topic was Our Brand is Crisis. Our Brand is Crisis is a documentary about a presidency election. Evo Morales. Evo Morales was part of his political party was the movement of socialism. Evo Morales wasn't your typical presidential candidate. He was seen to the people as a drug dealer, murderer, and terrorist. Most of his supporters didn't really support him. They only supported him because they feared what he would do to them and their family instead of actually supporting his ideas. And his way of getting his point across, he got his supporters to protest. The next candidate is Gonzalo Sanchez de Lozada, otherwise known as Goni. He was part of the Revolutionary Nationalist Movement political party. Goni was a former president of Bolivia in the years of 1993 through 1997. His first time as president, he didn't do much beneficial. One big thing he promised was more jobs. According to the film, he actually did the opposite of that. Because of his failure the first time around, he hired a consulting firm to help him do better. The Greenberg Carvel consulting firm is the firm he hired. They handled the way he did his speeches, how he acted in commercials, tracked his progress compared to other candidates, and more. Manfred Reyes Vila. Vila was part of the New Republican Force political party. He was a mayor for a number of years before this, and he knew what the Bolivian people were going through. He was about getting people out of poverty and getting some 800,000 children off the streets and into schools. Though he spoke of similar things that the citizens wanted, he didn't receive many supporters due to his military backgrounds. Leading to the election and election day. Even in hiring the consultants, Goni still wasn't leading in the polls in the time approaching the election, though his consultants actually did play a big part in repairing his image after his first election. In the beginning, Goni attacked Vila and it looked to be just a total waste of time, but eventually people started believing Goni and questioning Vila. The ambassador of Bolivia made a public announcement on accusations of threats to kill Evo Morales. They were intended to hurt Morales' chances with the election, of winning the election, but they actually helped him in chances of winning the election. But Goni actually ended up winning. Aftermath. Once Goni was elected, he actually turned out to make things worse for the people in Bolivia. 7 months after the election, Goni passed the income tax, which made times harder for the Bolivian citizens money-wise, and they became outraged. Violent protests broke out, and numerous people were killed. Morales played a role in these protests. He got people to dig up roads so that transportation would be cut off, and this forced Goni to bring in the military so he could keep the roads clear. Goni still refused to listen to the people. The people wanted him to keep the oil and not export it, but he decided that to make the country better off, it was better to export the oil and do this 8 months after the election. Goni was forced to resign as president, and his vice president Carlos Mesa was sworn in, and he chose to keep the ways of which Goni was going, and a year later he was forced to resign also. And Evo Morales took over the presidential position after that. and still to this day he's the president. He's more exciting.